Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let Fear Bounce. This is Kim Lengling, your fearless host. I just said that. Your fearless host. There you go. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me and my special guest each week on Wednesdays, folks. Be sure that you like, subscribe, smash the like button, do all the good things, to help keep the channel growing and keep motivational and inspirational messages rolling out to you and those that you care about. Now, my special guest today is Diann Boehm. She is a returning guest, so I'm so thankful and glad to have her back. She is the inspiring Diann Floyd Boehm. There we go. I'm calling her inspiring. She's an award winning international author whose stories light up hearts and minds across generations. From imaginative children's books to young adult historical fiction, Diann writes with a purpose to encourage kindness, self love, peace, and the limitless power of imagination. With a background in education and a heart for global humanitarian work, Diann has seen firsthand how storytelling can connect, heal, and inspire across cultures. Her words are more than stories, they're messages of hope. Get ready for a conversation filled with heart, purpose, and the courage to let your light shine. Diann, welcome to Let Fear Bounce.
Thank you. Wow, what an opening. I'm so honored. My goodness gracious, I'm touched.
I am so happy to have you back on because you do so much. Like it's mentioned, briefly mentioned, humanitarian work. You've been around the globe doing some stuff, helping folks out and writing a variety of different types of things. You have a new book that has just been released recently. You have a new television show that's going to be streaming soon. Holy cow. First off, welcome. Second off, where do you find the time to do all this amazing stuff?
My kids grew up.
Yeah. Yeah, empty nest. There you go.
It's amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it? The different things. That's it. I'm glad that you said that. The kids grew up. Now, I have a question for you because I know when my daughter, she's in her mid 30s, married, has her own home, has a baby, she's doing her life,
Yes.
just as we wish them to, as they're growing up. So when she first left, and it was literally just me, it was just me and the dog left in this house that's too big for one person. I remember thinking, and tell me if you had any of the same thoughts. I remember thinking, now what am I supposed to do? I've been mom for so long. Who's Kim? Did you have any of those same thoughts?
I think I think a lot of people do. I did not have those thoughts because I'm one of these people that I have always had a million things going. So when I lived in the Philippines, school started at 7 in the morning and we were out by 1, which meant I could perform, which I did at the National Theater in the Philippines in musicals. And so I always kept all my interests going.
Oh, how fortunate that you are then, that you were able to do that.
Yeah, and also I learned from my mom and grandma. They said, "Don't lose who you are." And so
Smart women, smart
so
women.
I feel very blessed because and then I ended up helping some of my friends that were, like, "Oh my god, my children are gone now, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, "No, you don't wanna get divorced. Figure out how you and your husband can reconnect, blah, blah, blah. And, what did you love to do when you were in high school? What made you happy? Maybe part of that you should bring back." And so, I think I ended up helping a lot of people that way.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting, that transition. I wasn't one who
It
was crying all the time or anything like that. I was just thinking, "Oh my goodness, what
now
did
what?
I used to like to do?" I didn't want to do those things anymore.
Right, right.
So it was something, I never wanted to be a writer. I never even considered being a podcaster, you know, any
Did
of
they
those
have
things.
podcasts when we were growing up? They were
Right. Yeah, what they didn't
radio.
even exist. But so it was interesting how so I did a lot of volunteer work. I mean, I had always done volunteer work, but that got upped a little bit when I had more time on my hands. And then that just, turned into many other things and
Yeah.
interest. It's interesting how life rolls along when you have an empty nest and how everybody's journey, is so completely different. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's That's cool. Hope there was some folks out there that heard that and picked that up, what you just tossed out there.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. So your books, you've got a new book that was just released. So share with us about that.
Well, thank you. It's so exciting. Um, Boomer, the Curious Bunny, did really well. And I'm with a publisher called Plum. Excuse me, I have a little code. Plum Creek Press, and we redid everything because Boomer was so popular that it's now a series. So I actually have 5 stories written, and the first one now you can see Boomer sees the town, and he's so adorable. I just love him. And very soon, and like around the corner, you're going to hear Boomer Here's the Forest. And what's exciting about those two that are coming out, um, and I wish I could tell you the third name, but it's a secret.
Okay, no, keep it to yourself.
All right, everybody listening, 3, and you can find the first one, Boomer Sees the Town, on Amazon. And, but what's exciting about it is it's for preschool, kindergarten, and I say even 1st grade for kiddos that are still trying to recall. Because the book's all about recalling. And yes, you learn all these different things about the forest and the birds, and Boomer, he's very curious. He goes down this path, and he's all of a sudden out of the forest, and he ends up in town. He's like, and at first he's in a park, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, the ground is raining." And the little kids, because I've read it in front of the schools, and they start laughing and they're like, "No, Mrs. Babe, it's a sprinkler." And I'm getting the exact reaction, that I wanted, so that the kids are really coming along. But then all of a sudden, Boomer, he starts to miss home. And he's like, "How am I going to get back?" So he has to recall everything. And that's the beauty of it, especially for educators and parents reading the story is like, well, what did Boomer see last? And then what did Boomer see until Boomer's all the way back home, all safe and sound?
Oh, how awesome.
Yeah, I'm really
Awesome.
excited. Can you tell I'm excited?
Yes. Well, I just love that his name's Boomer for a little bunny.
Oh, oh, well, there's a story behind that too, because I asked my grandson, I said, "What should I name Boomer?" I'm thinking, of several names. And he's like, "Boomer." And I'm like, "Why Boomer?" And he goes, "I don't know. When they bounce, they go boom, ba boom, ba boom." And I thought that was something so clever because at that time he was just 3 years old. And
That's
usually
smart.
usually you hear kids say, they hippity hop, or something. And he's like, "Well, this bunny goes boom, boom."
Boom. I
And then I
love
thought,
that.
I know, and I thought that was so cute because 'cause I'm a boomer baby, so.
Perfect. See, it all came together.
And it
It
took a
all came
3-year-old to tell me.
right. Well, isn't that the way? Isn't
Yeah.
that the way? Now I'm a newer grandma, um, and of a little girl, and she's 16 months old. No, she's
Oh,
18 months old now at this time. And
I
it's just oh goodness, there are no words to express how amazing it
say
is being a grandma.
oh,
And so I get to, I'm crawling around on the floor with her because I'm still able to do that. Crawling around on the floor with her and playing with her. And then I realize, oh my goodness, soak this up because you've gotten another chance to see the world through a child's eyes.
isn't it wonderful?
Yeah. And it's just like, oh my goodness, watching how their little brains work and how they're working things out and how this fits in there and just in awe and wonder.
Mm,
Everything is in awe and wonder.
yes. And
And
because
it's
you don't have
such
to
a
be
lovely reminder, of God
uh,
saying, get down there on the floor or crawl around in the backyard and let's, get on her level and I'm reminding you now, this is how amazing everything is.
oh, that's a beautiful way to say it.
Yeah.
And it's because also we have time to do that. We're not like, "Okay, I need to get dinner ready. Your daddy will be home soon, and, it's almost your bedtime." I mean, we don't have all those mommy thoughts we're going. It's like we're
Right.
just and that's why they just love us grandmas. Yay.
That's what I say. I'm always telling her, I'm going to be your most favorite grandma ever.
try to make that happen without saying those words.
I
You can,
know.
like, say it to a certain person.
I laugh about it because I mean, and she's very fortunate. She has, 3 great grandmas.
Oh, she's very blessed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't know, how long they'll be around, but currently she has 3 great grandmas and 4 regular grandmas. And so I'm always joking saying, "I'm gonna be your favorite grandma." She doesn't know what I'm talking about, but it's so funny. But I'm just having such a blast with that. And so you writing children's books and things like that, any of the ideas or how you're writing, the views that you're writing, do those come from your experiences with your grandchildren?
Um, so I wish I could say it was plural. I keep wishing they'd throw the pill away or
Oh,
something.
okay. Okay. I don't know why I thought you had more than one.
It's 'cause I keep wishing.
Oh, okay.
It's in my prayers. Anyway, so yes, and also a lot of stories come from my own childhood or, my kiddos, and so that's kind of exciting too.
It is exciting. It's fun to look back,
Mhm.
to pull those stories up and then think, you sit there and think, well, how can I put this in Boomer's story?
Right, and
Fun.
my tagline is to embrace imagination, and so all my stories, they're multi-level, so a child's gonna hear it in one at one level, and a parent is gonna read it and go, "Oh my gosh, I think she's talking to me," which is really great too, you know? Uh, and so, like, Charlie and the Tire Swing, for example, I'm very big into genealogy, and I was excited that you brought up great-grandparents because I knew one of my great-grandmas till I was 10 years old, and if I close my eyes, I can feel her braiding my long hair at the time and singing and just, whispering different things to me, and it's very warm. I love that, that I've been
What
blessed.
a beautiful memory that you have.
Yeah. S
Wow.
so what I try to do in Charlie and the Tire Swing is to bring in that family connection, so there's many generations in there, as they tell about a story about how this oak tree became so big, and grandpa explains, and the kids also learn about seasons and patience and so forth, and, so yeah, just I want my stories to be filled with imagination and parents to write me and go, like on that particular story wrote and says, I couldn't even get through the whole story because my kid kept saying, "Do I have a great grandpa?" Or grandma. And that was like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted,
Yeah.
those, or um, Harry the camel. When I lived in Dubai, that was being inspired, and a little boy gets lost, and the camel helps bring him back home, and there's this whole beauty in it because the camel was afraid to go up towards people, but he knew he had to get the little boy back to his people, and and so it really shows is that you might be scared, but take a deep breath and you can do it. So,
Awesome. And all your books can be found on Amazon, right?
yes, exactly.
So be sure you check those out, folks. I
Thank you.
did I did read the was it Charlie and the Swing?
Charlie and the Tire Swing?
Charlie
Yeah.
and the Tire Swing. I did read that one. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Love it. Don't forget, folks, be sure you check that out. Everything's going to be in the show notes as well, but you can be sure that you will have the links for all of that, all you out there listening. So do you have anything sitting on the back burner or any, brilliant ideas for a new book or anything like that that you're able to share at this time?
Sure. Actually, I wanted to do something a little different. And of course, there's several more Boomer books coming out. And The Little Girl on the Moon, I want to start getting back to my Moonling series. But I decided, I think the teacher in me, because I don't know if you know, I used to teach. And there's so many incredibly wonderful people that invented things that we don't really hear much about, and so I decided I'm going to, do some biographies and,
That
they're
is a big difference.
they're gonna be little short stories, but to and the purpose is to inspire young kiddos to imagine that they can think of something and go out and build it, even if you're just making a model of it out of toothpicks or whatever. Remember when we were little, I'm sure you did this, where you made things out of popsicle sticks?
Oh, yeah. I loved doing that.
Yeah, yeah, it's exciting, right? Remember the other day, my husband and I were in, a store called Original, and, I hope that's okay to say, but, but what's so neat about the store is Original, it's all these different artists and all their different work, and I looked at this one thing and I said, "John, we used to do that in Girl Scouts with popsicle sticks, but this person made it so beautiful."
Yeah. Yeah, my stuff always looked like a tilted shed, but that's okay.
Uh,
You
you
know?
had fun doing it, right?
It was fun playing with popsicle sticks and glue.
Oh,
You
man.
know? Putting the glue on your hand and smearing it and
Yeah.
letting it dry and then peeling it off.
Oh, yeah,
Did you used to do that? Oh, yeah.
that was fun all by
What a
itself.
waste of glue, but it was really cool. And I'll probably do it again now that I just thought of it and remembered it. Gotta go find the Elmer's glue. That was always so fun, I thought, because it was just amazing though. And that's another great reminder. I've never written a children's book. I've often wanted to, but I didn't. Yeah, I have that self-doubt thing that creeps in. Says, nah, Kim, you wouldn't be able to do any good at it. But I have these little stories that pop in my head. And like you said, your goal with each of your stories is to get the kids thinking, asking questions. And it's such a wonderful reminder. I would love to be able to find the words that I could weave together for the parents of the kids reading the books
Mhm,
to remind them to look at the world in awe and wonder.
mhm.
Even though it's it's a children's book. So, what advice would you give for an aspiring children's author that might be out there listening right now that has that roadblock, just like I do? Because children's books are not easy to write. But folks
Right.
think, oh, there's not that many words and blah blah blah, and I'm like, you have no idea. They're not all that easy to write. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different things that go into, and this, getting a children's book together. The
Right.
illustrations and the wording and the is it going to rhyme or not? The flow. How many words are going to go on each page? Are the pictures going to be both pages when you're opened up? All different kinds of things. So, what would be some advice that you could give to an aspiring children's author that's sitting out there going, I really, really want to do this. I have stories in my head. I just don't know where to get started.
Well, it's interesting what you said even about yourself because I just had published, just this, um, couple months ago, Walls, Roadblocks, and, and it's all about don't listen, don't let your head just write, and the story will come. And every time you say to yourself, "Oh, I can't do that," or "Oh, it's not going where I want," say, "Shut up.
Yeah.
I am going to do this," because and get fire in your gut. There's this passion of a thought you want to have happen, just start writing. Get out that notebook and just write ideas down. And if you say, "Oh, it's that first sentence." No, generally your first sentence is your last sentence, so and you've probably seen that in your own writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just write and and believe that you can do it and and just tell yourself, "I am an author. I am an author." And actually, we all are
Right.
because we tell stories. Every single day, we're all telling a story. It might be a gossip story about so and so next door, It might be about this recipe of this incredible dessert you made. That's storytelling. And so you're just putting it in a different form. So therefore, you can do it.
Awesome. Yes, you can do it. Just get it down. And I know I've talked to some folks and they're like, I get so tired of people saying just write. And I'm going, but how else are you going to get a book written?
Mhm.
unless you just sit down and start writing.
Right. And if you're a person that's like, "Oh, I don't wanna write," then I go back to saying, "Okay, record yourself, tell the story. Record yourself, then re-listen to it,
Yeah.
and then you can write."
You know
So,
what I have found?
that's a
Have you done this? And I apologize for interrupting. My brain just got excited. Um, when you said recording, because I do that a lot. Ideas come to me when I'm out walking my dog, and I'll grab my phone and now that we can actually do that, technology is amazing. I grab my phone and just, record it and save it. So when I get back to the house, I can, you know, get it
Mhm.
down. But do you find yourself, oh, wow, I just completely lost my train of thought. I have no idea where I was going with that.
Like, you got so
I
excited.
got so excited. It's bouncing around my ceiling. It'll probably come back in 5 minutes or so. That's okay. That's how this show rolls, folks. If you've
See?
been tuning in for any length of time, you know Kim's brain goes whoop every once in a while. I
But
okay.
recording helps. Recording helps.
Recording does help. It does help to keep your thoughts and stuff on track once you get back. But I do have, since the name of this podcast is called Let Fear Bounce, I'm going to jump into something completely different outside of your books. And we were talking offline about uh, the potential that you actually had lost eyesight in one of your eyes, and you
Yeah.
weren't really aware of it.
Yes.
Now I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, or no, I'm going to ask you, what type, if any, did fear come to play in that when you realized, oh my goodness, they just told me I'm completely blind in this eye, and the other eye, there's a potential. As a writer, or just as a human being, what was your first reaction to that when you heard that?
I was in shock. Because even when they were doing the eye exam, and I had so many different machines they put you to these days, and you know how you cover up one eye and you're supposed to, and
Right.
the and, I was acing it with this eye, and the guy goes, "Okay, so what are you seeing with this eye?" And I'm like, that's not funny. Why are you doing that? It's just a white wall." And he did it 3 times, and then
Oh,
he just undid, he goes, "You're blind in that eye." And I'm like,
wow.
"What?" And it was very scary, and, uh, and then I was, even scared about having the procedure, but they were incredible, and now I have perfect vision in this one eye, and there were cataracts, by the way. So one of them was just so hard, and I just didn't know it. So please, everybody, make sure you have your eye exams, because if the cataract gets too hard, then sometimes they can't remove it or they have to chisel it out, and that's not
Oh,
horrible?
oh, that sounds frightening.
Yeah,
Chisel and eyeballs should never go together. Those two words should never be in the same sentence.
I know.
Chisel your eye. Ugh. Wow. And now you have perfect vision in that eye. That is amazing.
It's a blessing, it's a real miracle.
Oh my goodness, yes. And that they were able to, it was caught just in time, it sounds like.
Just in time. I listened
Wow.
to the angels, said, "You need to get into the eye doctor,"
Well, you were experiencing pain in your, what you thought of as your good eye, correct? That's why you eventually went. You were experiencing pain?
Absolutely, and it turned out this right eye was compensating for the left eye,
Well, sure.
and so and I knew I was having to buy stronger readers and everything 'cause I've never had to really wear glasses, and, anyway, I just thought, "Well, this is really strange," and so it's like, "Okay, I need to get to the eye doctor." And, all our doctors were still in Houston because we returned. We c A long story, but we used to live in Dubai in the Middle East for 14 years, and so, we rented this house out. So we hadn't changed into all our doctors back here in Austin, and so, we were still driving back and forth, but this friend of mine told me this amazing, miraculous, as far as I'm concerned, doctor who gave me my sight.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
know.
So, a little public service announcement included in today's episode, folks. Make sure you get your regular eye exams.
And don't be fearful, right?
let it bounce. You got to let that fear bounce because it's your health. That's your that's a really big priority, folks. Yeah. You have to take care of you.
Absolutely, and
Or you can't help anybody else or take care of anybody else if you need to. You do
right.
have to take care of yourself. And you know what? Tell me if I'm wrong, but were there times in your life? I know there were times in my life where it felt like I had no time to take care of myself because I was too busy being a wife, a mom, caring for this person, caring for that person, volunteering here, doing this, doing that, taking care of the kiddo, you know, carpooling, running other people's kids back and forth to different places, and you get so running down and so tired. I know for me there were times where I completely neglected my own health.
No,
And
absolutely do that.
and it's, it's just you're just like, well, it's just a busy life. Well, you reach a certain point in life where it's like, no, that's not something I can say anymore. Oh, it's a very busy life. No, you actually have to. You actually have to put yourself as a priority.
No, you do, and I'll tell you a funny story. Um, so I have at that time when I was a young mom, I had 3 kiddos who have grown up to be amazing adults. But anyway, there was time that I just said, "I have to have some me time." So I made me this sign, and it says, "I am not a mommy. I am not a wife. I am just Diane. Give me my 30 minutes." And I would hang it on the door going to the bathroom, and where the bathtub is, and then I would take a bubble bath, and the kids knew that that was me time. And I could hear him out there sometimes going, "Has she had enough me time?"
Did they stick their little fingers under the door?
Yes, they did. How did you know?
Because my daughter used to do the same thing. I'd be like, "I just need 10 minutes," and I always went into the bathroom.
Yeah. It's a
I
safe
just need
haven.
10 minutes, leave me be. And it was so comical because I still can picture it in my head. She'd be laying on the floor because I could hear her breathing under the door, and then her little fingers, but then I'd also hear sniffing, and then I would lean down and look, and there's the dog's nose. The dog's nose and her tiny little fat fingers. And then it's like, I never got my 10 minutes. I might have gotten 6, and
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my
exactly.
gosh. Because
I
it was
know.
just so darn sweet. I mean, if I had cell phones back then, we didn't have them back then, but if we had them, I probably would have snapped a picture of that little nose, the dog nose, and the little fingers sticking out.
But then when you come out, "Okay, what did you want?" "Nothing, I just wanted to see what you were doing."
Yeah. Yeah.
"I'm
Did you
going out
need
to run."
anything?
I'm
No. Yeah. And you're like,
like
but I wouldn't trade any of those moments for anything, even the frustrating ones.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
so what would what would like your best day look like for you right now in this season of your life? What would your best day look like?
My best day is when I can work in the garden. Um, there's something even when I was a little kid, I'd make, did you ever make patties out of dirt,
Oh, heck yeah.
I've always loved playing in the dirt. I love being in the gardens and watching the flowers grow. I'm not good with the seeds. My husband is incredible, but that's wonderful. And then to have time to sing. So I started back with a voice teacher to get my voice going back because I was noticing it was turning kind of raspy like an old lady, and I was like, "Yikes!" And so um, I'm now a year into taking voice lessons and getting my voice back because I used to have like about 3.5 octaves, and so
Oh, wow.
I'm almost there
That's a
again.
big range.
Yeah, a very big range.
See,
So
I sing on my I used to for probably 10 or 12 years the worship team on at my church.
oh,
And I
nice.
have a lower voice. And when you said raspy, I started laughing because my voice is naturally raspy when I sing. So
Mhm.
and we have contemporary music. So they would
Contemporary.
have me sing the songs that were typically sung by men. So I was jokingly called, they'd be like, come on, Lady Bass, you can do it. Because I can go pretty low singing. And it's got a raspy kind of raspy country sound to it. I'm trying to think who has a raspy. Uh, there was a singer, a regular singer, not Christian singer from back in the 80s. I can't remember her name. She sang
Trying to think.
"Every Now and Then I Fall Apart." Bonnie Raitt, not
Oh,
Bonnie
boy.
Raitt. The other one. Do you know who I'm talking about? She had blonde hair.
I was raising kids, so I didn't even
I was still listening to music with a kid on my hip. But I grew up to that music. But anyway, so when you said that, your voice is turning raspy, I kind of chuckled. But how cool that you're taking voice lessons and you have been for a year to get your voice back. Well, get your voice to where it is for who you are now.
Correct, and what I want to do is, we never know how long we're gonna be here till
Right.
we're called home, and, I love singing Christian music, and I love singing, songs of inspiration,
Yeah.
and so, I'm gonna surprise my kids, they're gonna hear it now on this show, but I'm gonna when my voice is ready, I'm gonna record, some of the best of the songs that I have. I put together about 21 songs,
Awesome.
and, so it it can be passed down, the recordings, and
Yeah.
because 'cause I'd give anything to be able to hear my great-grandma sing again, and she sang in church with her brothers, and so, she was a Baptist, and so they really sang some great songs in the Baptist church.
I'm Baptist. Yeah, we're
Uh-huh.
lively.
Yeah,
We're
exactly,
lively when we sing.
and, and so I'm the lively Episcopalian
Yeah.
singing.
People are out there going, lively, Episcopalian. Do those two words go together?
I know, I was sitting there going, "Going to the mountains, Lord."
Yeah. Oh,
So,
how fun.
but
That
anyway,
is so cool though. How cool. Good for you.
I'm really excited, and raspy is so great when you're in the alto range.
That's pretty much where I'm at. Yeah.
When you are when you have to hit that high note on an "Oh Holy Night," and you're like, yeah,
Always.
that's
I have to drop the key for me to sing that song. I drop it way down. That's one of my favorite songs all time though.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of my all-time favorites. Yeah. Diane,
and
this has been so fun. So fun having you on again. Oh my gosh, time's flown, and I could sit here and talk to you for another hour and a half. So that just means we'll have to have you back on again.
oh, I would love that. I would love that.
Because I want to have you back on once when you're allowed to talk about and you can share more about this new TV show you're going to be doing. Because we're going to
Oh,
need to hear
yes.
more about that. And I'm sure you've got other books coming, the series that you're working on. So many cool things that are coming up in this year and I'm sure into the next year. So thank you so much for sharing your part of your journey, a couple of your fears that you were able to face and overcome. So where can people find you and all your good stuff that you're doing?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'd love to come back. And everyone, thanks for tuning into the show. You can find me on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and also you can go to your favorite local bookstore and order it because you can do that. And I love supporting the local bookstores. And, so yeah, that's where you can find me. Oh, my website, please subscribe to the newsletter. It's diannfloydboehm.com, and it sounds like BAME, but it's B as in boy, OEHM.com, diannfloydboehm.com.
Awesome. Be sure
Yeah.
to check that out, folks, and subscribe to her newsletter so you can keep up to date with all her cool stuff that she's doing. You may know about it before I do. No, no, you won't, because I'm going to go sign up for that dang newsletter. So
Aw.
thanks for sharing that. And I always ask all of my guests as we close out and round out this show, I ask my guests to please toss out a nugget of hope, something inspirational or motivational for the listeners that they can tuck away and carry with them for the rest of the day. And at the very least, they can write it on a sticky note and stick it on their mirror. So, what would your nugget of hope be today?
I think based on number 1, let fear balance, number 2, what we've talked about in music, music is soothing for the soul. And so go to YouTube and listen to "You'll Never Walk Alone." That is a powerful song.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's a very powerful song, and it will guide you
It
through a
might
song.
bring you to tears too.
Yeah,
It
and
did
I
me
have
the first time I
mastered
heard
that
it.
song, I wanna tell you, but anyway,
Oh,
you'll
you
never
have?
yeah, with my boy.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. You heard it here, folks. Go check it out on YouTube, listen to it, soak it up. How I always say, it- when I was singing on the worship team, people be like, Kim, I really enjoyed that. You did such a great job. And I always felt funny because I was like, I just felt funny. I don't take compliments well. They're hard. I feel they make me feel funny. So I had to learn to just say thank you and be done. But there were so many times they're like, well, it seems like when you're really into the song. And I said, it's interesting that people would notice that because I would tell my pastor, I'm like, I don't even remember what I sang because I feel like I fell into it.
Yes, the
And then
spirit
when
of
it's done, you just kind of look around and go,
yeah,
you
the
know,
spirit of singing through
oh
you.
yeah, they just whooshed through. But that's one of the, and I'm sure you've had those moments too,
Yes.
where you just fall, and that for me, it's just you just fall into it,
Mhm.
and you become a part of whatever's happening.
Yeah,
And then when it's done, you're just like, wow, and it feels like such a blessing, and you feel lighter and well blessed.
yeah, you said
So,
it.
and who cares what you sound like, folks? Sing at home. Let yourself fall into the music.
Amen.
That's another way you can take care of yourself. Let yourself fall into the music. Yeah. Wow. Diann, thank you once again for being my guest on Let Fear Bounce. This has been a true blessing.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to next time.
Me too. Yay. Everybody out there, thank you once again for tuning in each week. Remember, new episodes are uploaded each Wednesday, folks. So hit that like button, subscribe, share, do all those good things so we can keep the good message rolling out there across the world. Because why not? But if not, we can at least change our own small slice of the world right where we're standing. Everybody, this is Kim Langling, your host of Let Fear Bounce. Everybody, be well, stay well, and above all, be blessed.
Kindness. It's simple, powerful, and free. Yet, it holds the extraordinary ability to change someone's day or even their life. Order your copy of Nuggets of Hope, Cultivate Kindness on Amazon.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let Fear Bounce. New episodes drop each week, folks, on YouTube and Spotify and most listening platforms. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the things. So until next time, folks, take a deep breath, be kind to yourself, and as always, let fear bounce.